let us discuss about market structure. So, under this particular chapter or discussion, um, we will be conscious about the basic goods and services that we see in the market through the market structures. So, have you ever wondered why um, we buy the same commodities but in different prices or even different types? Or have you ever wondered why toiletries that you commonly use are being promoted more often? Say Colgate, toothpaste, all other things. No, they are being promoted more often. Palmolive, di ba? All other kinds of shampoo and conditioner, what you can see over televisions. With or without endorsements, we still end up buying these commodities. Why can't the government just control the prices of all imported goods and services in our country? If the government can impose price ceiling. So these are the things that we need to discuss in this particular discussion on market structures. So our objectives are as follows. One, explain the different, the importance of market structure in our daily lives. Second, differentiate the different market structures and their characteristics. Third, identify and describe how each market structure maximizes profit. Relate the concepts of market to the different businesses existing in the Philippines. That's the fourth. And finally, to identify the different pricing structures of the four market structures. So what is market structure? So when we talk about market structures in general, these are the individual characteristics of each particular industry in our economy. They also show the organization and composition of firms to the market. For example, the restaurant industry has different market characteristics. The characteristics of an industry that economists usually determine are the following. One, the number of firms in the industry, the nature of product produced. Third, degree of power each firm has. Fourth, degree to which the firm can influence price. Fifth, non-price competition or advertisement. Sixth, profit levels. Seventh, extent of barriers to entry. So these are the characteristics that will answer in every market structure that we need to discuss. So take note that when we look at the economy, we are looking into a more competitive market and lesser competitive market. So we have the so-called monopoly, that is lesser competition going to the right, monopolistic competition at the middle, and perfect competition on the left side. So if you look at monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic competition, and perfect competition, as it goes on the left, it's more competitive, but as it goes to the right, it is lesser competitive. So if it's reverse, that is perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly, lesser competition. But if you go on this side, monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic competition, and perfect competition. So, what do you mean by perfect competition? Let us first begin on a very more competitive structure. So, perfect competition is where the economists refer to only one market structure when they talk about agricultural products. And this is, for example, a perfect competition. So, Say for example, if you can see in the market, no, if you go to Dumaguete City Public Market, for example, there is a fruit stand, no, and in that particular fruit stand, there are different kinds of sellers, and they are actually selling different kinds of fruits. The same mango, the same avocado, different prices or similar prices. So, if there are 10 fruit vendors, dili ko na niya pasagahan o pasaka ang iyang presyo. Dapat pulo parihara na sila og presyo. Or kung mas mahal ang usa, adto gud sa adto gyud na dito sa lain nga barato ang usa. So, that is an example of a perfect competition exists in every area of the world. Having a model is necessary because it helps us scrutinize the firms with similar characteristics to such type of market structure. So for example, in a typical wet market in the Philippines, people selling agricultural products like fish, for example, and other, products in the wet market, baboy, baka, kanding, karabaw. These are examples of mga livestock products, agricultural products, mga saging, banpa, no? So, the model of market structures provides a framework which relates revenue and cost that every product faces. So, what are the characteristics of a perfect competition? So, we just have to answer, as I've mentioned earlier, the seven characteristics. First, the number of firms in the industry. So, under these particular characteristics, in perfect competition, it has sellers and players, which is the reason why a single seller's decision has no impact on the market price, unless a certain seller drastically decreases its price. So, it's the only time that other sellers would also decrease their prices because they know that more customers would prefer the seller offering the lowest price. However, the seller who decreased his or her price would, needless to say, be hated on by his competitors. Diba? Kung naakadya, pareha mo na ninda og isda, pareha mo og isda, di ba barato ka? So, makontrahan ka na dito sa imong mga competitors. Second characteristic, nature of the product produced. So, the products under perfect competition are usually identical or homogeneous. So this is an example or reason why agricultural products are identified as examples of products under perfect competition because they are always the same. Even if we add roots to an onion, it would still be an onion. Okay? Third, degree of power each firm has. So as there are many sellers offering the same products, each producer supplies a very small proportion of the total industry output. Fourth characteristics, degree to which the firm can influence price. So firms in this type of market structure have no influence to pricing. They are considered as price takers because they do not have control over the price they charge for their market. How about non-price competition or advertisement? There's no need to promote or advertise because everyone knows this product. Let's say, for example, agricultural products, sibuyas, ahos. It's very common. Calamansi. Okay? Have you ever seen strawberries or mangoes being advertised in television? Kamote tops, kamote, fish. They're not. The answer would definitely be a no because advertisements on mango or strawberry juice, for example, however, fall on another market structure. Kung imo nang i-produce ang mango into juice, into dried, no, ang strawberry, imo nang himong jam, that's another market structure. How about the characteristics on price levels? So theoretically, profit on firms under perfect competition is very small as they just allow the market to dictate their price. How about the last characteristics on extent of barriers to entry? So, there is an easy entry and exit from the industry. This means that it is easy to be in the business and also it's easy to live because there are many people engaged in the same business. So perfect competition actually provides a projection or several estimates on the realities of markets. These are that are less than perfectly competitive. So it is actually a yardstick by which other markets are being assessed. Primarily, it concerns itself with the effectiveness of the allocation of scarce resources by ensuring that market produces what buyers want. So, on a perfect competition, price is equal to demand. I repeat that. On perfect competition, price is equal to demand. Precisely because sellers at the price based on what the market would actually dictate. So in perfect competition, all firms are assumed to produce the exact same price. We call that one as homogeneous goods. This means that each firm has to take the market price for its goods or it will not be in market any longer. So if one sets its price higher than market price, consumers will switch to another producer's goods with lower price than the market price. So this actually results in cost exceeding revenue and the firm goes out of business. So after analyzing firms under perfect competition, we'll be using the same method of analysis in understanding the other market structures. Let's go to monopolistic competition. Let me ask you, why do we often see beauty queens and TV personalities endorsing shampoo or conditioner brands in the Philippines? This is because the firms that hire them want to send a message that if you buy the product that they use, your hair will be as beautiful and shiny as theirs. Okay? So muna nga, they are actually using mga artista to market their particular product. So, monopolistic competition refers to a market situation with a relatively large numbers of sellers offering similar but not identical products. Examples are hair care products, fast food restaurants, clothing stores, and the like. So again, using the 7 market structures or measures rather, we will try to uncover what monopolistic competition is. Let's first begin on number of industry or firms in the industry. So in monopolistic competition, there are many monopolistic competition. There are many number of sellers under monopolistic competition. This is because the nature of the products is needed by the people. And this is actually the reason why firms could expect a high demand if the product would be known by their target market. Nature of the product produced. So, as mentioned earlier, there are many players in the market structure offering similar but not identical products. So for example, hair care products. All shampoo and conditioners have similar functions, but their packaging and the way they are presented to people are not identical. And that is the reason why some items as presented to people, uh, such as lotion, soap, add other ingredients like papaya, glutathione to their products. These are meant to capture those who would like to have fairer complexion or want to be whiter. Okay? Third, on the degree of power each firm has. So each producer under monopolistic competition have either a large or small proportion of the total industry output depending on its impact on the market. So this is more on the market share. So for example, mga shampoo, kinsa may pinakadako dag market share? It depends how they reach their targeted market. How their products able to address the demand of this particular market. Fourth, degree to which the firm can influence price. So firms under monopolistic competition may have some element of control over price. Why? Because they can differentiate their product in some way from their rivals. So for example, if we want the price of our dessert to be higher, we could just add some ingredients to make it unique and entice customers to buy it. In that manner, despite the similarity of our product to another company, the added ingredient might be our reason to increase our price. So therefore, products under monopolistic competition are close but not perfect substitutes. Okay? On the non-price competition or advertisement, spending on advertisements and other ways to make the brand popular are intense in firms under monopolistic competition as opposed to the perfect competition. So companies uses advertisements because their products are not yet known in the market. They might not be able to maximize their profit. In effect, most of the commodities that we see in advertisements are firms that all under monopolistic competition. Lotion, shampoo, sabon, sa pailain dira nga mga products which are under monopolistic competition. Yet similar products but different in terms of packaging, in terms of its content, in terms of its added value, or in terms of added features, etc. How about in for profit levels? So, on profit levels, theoretically, the opportunities to earn and keep economic profit in this structure are few, but much higher than a perfect competition. Okay? How about extent of barriers to entry? So under that characteristics, there are easy barriers to the entry and exit in this type of market structure. The same with perfect competition. This is because the raw materials for the product are accessible in the market. So, citing the differences and similarities of the two, and its characteristics based on the 7 variables. Perfect and monopolistic competitions are at the opposite ends of the competition in the market structure. A perfectly competitive market has many firms selling identical products who all act as price takers in the face of competition. In the monopolistic competition market structure, firms have market power because they can make their products different from their competitors in several ways. Physical aspects of the product, location where the product is sold, intangibility of the product, and perceptions of the product. So this is the reason why it is said that in advertisement, in this market structure, is intense under monopolistic competition because this will be their competitive advantage to increase the prices. So that's the difference between the two. Let's proceed to oligopoly. So when we talk about oligopoly, if a typical Filipino is asked about his or her network provider, she will usually answer with only 2 of the biggest ones. Diba? Globe, Smart, then there is the entry of Dito, but usually it's Globe and Smart. If we would mention the gasoline industry in the country, people might enumerate less than 10 gasoline stations that they are aware of. Ba? Petron, usually Petron, Caltex, Shell, this is the top 3. Television channels are dominated by 3 of the largest stations in the country. ABS-CBN, GMA, TV5, But ABS-CBN is closed, so GMA, TV5, AMS, alright, but AMS is not yet that concentrated. So this is because these firms are under oligopoly. So by definition, oligopoly exists when there are few large firms producing a homogeneous or differentiated product that are dominated or much needed by the market. The market structure is characterized by very few players, usually dominated by many firms, but the industry is dominated by a small number of very large producers. So this means a concentration ratio exists in this form of market structures. So concentration ratio means that the proportion of total market sales held by the top number of firms, say 3 to 10, accounts for a huge percentage, say 75% and above, of all the sales in the industry. So that's oligopoly. And if you look at the 7 characteristics, which I have also explained in the previous 2 types of structures, let us also try to discuss that according to the 7 characteristics for oligopoly. So, number of firms in the industry. There are few large firms in the market structure under oligopoly. How about the nature of the product produced? So, the products that the oligopolistic firms produce are often nearly identical. An example would be telecommunication industries would offer calls, internet, surfing, text messaging. They only vary in price and the way people can use their services, but the offer would still be the same. So therefore, the firms that are competing for market share are independent. So for example, in 1990, only telecommunication companies offers unlimited calls and text messages. Talk and text, TM. Years after years, other companies followed. This is why, because they have seen how other consumers shifted to another company because of the said innovation. How about degree of power each firm has? So producers under oligopoly could have a big impact on total industry demand because their products have the same purpose. For example, an LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, in one station would still be the same as one LPG in another station despite the brand name. Degree to which the firm can influence price. So firms under oligopoly must consider the rival moves or changes in the response to decisions about prices, output, advertising, because this will affect the demand of their products. How about in non-price competition or advertisement? So advertisements and other ways to make the brand popular are also intense to firms under oligopoly, just like monopolistic competition. So firms under oligopoly know that if their products are not yet known to the market, this might lessen how their products are viewed and the profit might suffer in the long run. And this is the reason why most of the firms under oligopoly here in the Philippines offer different promos for their products. These are to entice people to patronize their products over their customers. Now, on the account of profit levels, in economics, firms under oligopoly rather, view their demands as inelastic for price cuts and elastic for price rise. So this is the reason why the demand curves of oligopolies are kinked. This, kinked, Kinked. Okay, demands are of an inelastic demands as inelastic for price cuts and elastic for price rise. So what does it mean? Early on we discussed about inelastic demand and elastic demand. So when we say elastic demand, there is an effect on the price on the demand if the price rises. So kung usaka ang price, so take note that the demand will actually go down. That is if there are basically the price is considered to be elastic. So there is a great impact on the demand when there is a movement of the price. Right? Then, extent of barriers to entry. The entry for a firm under oligopoly is hard because of its huge capitalization as well as different processes that the regulatory bodies impose before you can establish such business. Series, in the Visayas, Yagbit series, Mindanao series. Okay, muna na major player. Lastly, monopoly. So there is a monopoly. When prices of goods and services increase, we actually often hear complaints against monopolized business, or sometimes people resort to rallying on the streets calling for oust all monopolies and oligopolies. However, if a government ousts monopolies and oligopolies, how will our needs be supplied? Okay? So, muna na rin mga pangutana din ha, no? Kanang naong mga oligopoly. Usually, mga oligarchs. Monopoly, no? Series ni sa tuwa dati sa example of mura mo nagmonopoly kay wa may laing bus diri sa Negros. So in the Philippines, two of the biggest necessities in the Metro Manila are controlled by firms under monopoly. Example, Maynilad Water, no? Meralco, kita sa Atua, sa Dumaguete, sa man, Metro Water, MWSS something. So, one misconception of the people is that as long as producers are under monopoly, firms could instantaneously charge a higher price to the consumers to the extent that it could compromise their welfare. However, this is not the case all the time. So, although monopoly is characterized of a market structure where only one producer exists in the industry, it might still be rare because there are always some forms of substitute that will be made available to the market. So, for example, if your electricity supply has been disconnected by Noreco, Meralco, you can still use a flashlight and others to light up your house or use battery. However, this inconvenience is not something that we would like to happen. We need the services of Meralco, Noreco, so we can have a steady supply of electricity. So because monopolies offer products needed by a lot of people, they could have a monopoly power where firms influence the market in some way through their behavior. So, ato po na siyang ikuan dito sa 7, number of firms. So, under monopoly, 1. Okay, 1 player. So, however, there are cases where only one company owns different players in the industry. This is still considered as monopoly. Okay? Especially if the head of that conglomerate is more than one and the prices do not vary at all or there is very small margin difference on prices. How about the nature of the products? So products are exclusively distributed by one player, but are still subject to government control so that it will ensure that prices are monitored correctly. How about degree of power each firm has? So theoretically, firms under monopoly have huge opportunity to gain, but government regulations might intervene at times. How about degree to which the firm can influence price? Firms in the type of market structures have a significant influence on prices as they are the only producer in the market. How about non-price competition or advertisement? So in essence, they don't advertise themselves any longer. Why? Because there's no need to promote. Why? They are there and the people need it. Noreco, mag-advertise orang Noreco. Tubig. Okay? Pero kung ganahan sila, it's up to them. Pero most likely, they will not spend more on that. Profit, very high. Because they are the ones who dictate the price of the commodity or service in the market. They have the control. But the government can regulate. Extent of barriers to entry, it's very difficult to enter into a monopolistic industry. Similar to oligopoly, it's very hard because it requires a huge capitalization as well as the different process of the regulatory bodies. So those are the 4. So let us summarize. 1. Market structures show the organization and composition of firms to the market. These are the 4 characteristics in structures in the market. Perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, monopoly. The demand curves of products under perfect competitions are perfectly elastic, and firms under perfect competition should produce an output with where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. MR is equal to MC. Perfect competition producers are price takers because they do not have any control when it comes to pricing. The demand curve of products under monopolistic competition is elastic. An oligopoly has a kink demand curve, which is derived from the nature of its products that is inelastic of price cuts and elastic for price rise. Monopoly is a market structure where only one producer exists in the industry. Monopolies are characterized with a monopoly power where firms influence the market in some way through their behavior. Firms under monopoly are considered as price setters because they have control over what they charge for their product. That's all for market structures. Stay tuned for the next topic about measuring national income. Thank you.